Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD Podcast, where it is all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Well, hello. Welcome to another episode of the EntreMD Podcast. Now, listen, this is going to be so good. I am in the middle of my vacation and I was thinking about my EntreMD crew and I was like, this is really so good. I just need to record this and let them know something powerful that I've discovered. You're really going to enjoy this, okay? So I was at the airport and I saw this man. He was standing in front of me and he had a really cool looking mask on, right? Like, I was like, we're really getting very extra with these masks and all of that. And at the time of this recording, we're right in the middle of a COVID pandemic and everybody has to wear a mask. Okay. That's kind of the way this is working. So he has this fancy mask on and he has it where it's covering his mouth and it's covering his mustache, but not covering his nose at all. Like, really cool mask, but it's useless. Like, completely useless, right? And I'm like, dude, if you came in contact with someone who has COVID, you have a mask on, but it's not going to matter. I mean, this is super fancy. Chances are, he was browsing for a mask. He spent time. He found this one he really liked. He ordered it. He waited a few days for it to come to his home. And, it looked really cool when he looked at himself in the mirror and he's like, oh my gosh, even though I have to wear a mask, I look amazing. But the one thing that the mask is supposed to do, the one thing the mask is supposed to do, it doesn't do. Why? He didn't do the most important thing. He didn't cover his nose, right? And when I looked at that, I'm like, so how bad would it be for him to almost comply with what he's supposed to do and come in contact with someone who has COVID and get COVID and end up in the ICU or God forbid, even dying, right? And I started thinking about how that relates to us, our lives, our businesses. And I came up with a question that we always need to ask. This is a question that would make you most productive. It would make your business most profitable. It would make sure you're experiencing continual growth. It will be a complete game changer. And that question is this: what moves the needle in my business? What moves the needle in my business? Every time you have to do something, every time you're trying to make a decision, every time you're in the middle of acting, right? Taking an action, the question should be, what moves the needle in my business? What would make this matter? Because like for the guy I told you about with the mask or, the mask kind of on, all he did, all the actions he took, like researching, ordering it, waiting for it to come, putting it on, all of that stuff, it didn't matter, right? Like if he came in contact with somebody who had COVID, it wouldn't matter because the one thing that moves the needle, putting the protective thing over your nose, he didn't do. So in your business, what moves the needle? And even beyond business, we're going to talk about business today, but even beyond business in your everyday life, I'm trying to raise a family. What moves the needle? I'm trying to make sure I'm in the best shape of my life. What moves the needle, right? For instance, this happens all the time. So I'm a pediatrician by training, and I'm like, we have to get you more active and all this stuff. This is what I always hear. Oh, mom, so you have to get me the Wii, right? Or, yes, I need to go get that, that outfit I've always wanted to work out at. And I'm like, no. Why? Because none of those things move the needle. I want you to get out of your house and I want you to take a 30-minute brisk walk today. That's what I want you to do. Okay. You can get the gear and you can get the fancy Apple Watch and you can get the Fitbit and you can do all of that. They don't move the needle. We need to always keep the main thing the main thing. So does it mean you don't do other things? You do, but don't do other things and not do the main thing, right? So let's look at some of those things. Practically speaking in our businesses, what does that mean? So let's say I said, you know what? I want to put my business on the map. So I'm going to start doing videos, which is great. You guys know I love videos, right? I'm going to start doing videos, whether those are Facebook Lives or pre-recorded videos, or I'm starting a YouTube channel, whichever. But you're like, I am going to start doing videos. When you do videos, how does that move the needle? What do you do in a video for that to move the needle? Now, the goal of a video, and this could be you talking on stage, or this could be a podcast, is the same principle. The goal of the video is not for people to say, oh my God, he's an amazing speaker. That would be nice, but that doesn't move the needle. It's not for, if you're standing in front of a physical stage, for people to give you a standing ovation. That's wonderful, but that doesn't move the needle. What moves the needle, right? When you do a video or you do a talk or you do a podcast interview, there are two things that should happen. One is that the audience should feel served. What that means is you gave them valuable content that is designed to give them transformation, right? Like they were inspired and they got practical tips, things they could apply right away and make a change in their lives, or, whatever it is that you help them do. So you served the people. Okay. But another thing you're going to do is that your video or your talk or your podcast episode needs to have a call to action. It needs to have a call to action. You need to give people, to tell them how they can find you, how they can work with you. You should tell them they should work with you, right? And you might go like, but I don't want to bother people. If they truly get value from what I do, then they'll just come to me. And there's nowhere in the universe where that's the way that works, right? If you think about it, a company with such a loyal following as Apple, they still spend billions of dollars on advertising. Why? Because people need you to tell them, come and buy my stuff. Okay, so let's look at it this way, right? Say I was a personal trainer and I came and I did a 45-minute keynote. Amazing. I was amazing. I was engaging. I gave you, I got rid of some mindset blocks that stopped you from working out or eating right. I gave you some simple strategies that you could use starting right away. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have never been so inspired. I've never been so hopeful about the future. Finally, I'm going to be able to get those 20 pounds off. Okay. Now you and I know that there's no 45-minute talk that's going to change everything permanently. It could jumpstart stuff. It could open my eyes to what is possible. But at the end of the day, I'm really going to need more time with you, right? So as a personal trainer, after doing that fantastic talk, what is the best way I can serve you? The best way I can serve you is by saying, hey, and if you found this helpful at all, this is what I do. I'm all about helping you transform your health. I know you have the work ethic to do it. You just need somebody to walk alongside you, give you the accountability you need, give you the coaching you need, give you the community you need. And I do that. So I have an 8-week boot camp that's going to be starting off in the next week. And I want you to come join us there. If you join us, these are the kinds of results that you can get. And maybe finally you'll be able to fit in those skinny jeans again. Maybe finally you'll get back to that energy level where you can chase after your grandkids. Maybe finally you look in the mirror and love what you see, right? What have I done? I've given them an opportunity to work with me. And if I do that, there are two things that happen again. One is they get much better results, right? And the second thing that happens is my business does what it's supposed to do, which is to serve and to earn, right? That's what a business does. So what moves the needle is giving calls to actions, making offers, is telling people, come work with me. So when you do a video, now, it doesn't mean every single video will say, come work with me, but that should be seated in it, right? But what moves your business forward is making offers. So don't produce so much content and then not give people an opportunity to get even bigger results by working with you and moving your business forward by working with you. Okay. So the question is, what moves the needle in my business? I'll give you another example. Say you go to network, okay? You go to network, you go to an event, and you get to meet somebody. And this is somebody who is further along in their journey than you are. And you've always admired them from a distance, or you've read their books or something like that. Somebody that could be a mentor, somebody that could be a resource. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm talking with them, right? Now, you know that I teach that people are constantly thinking about themselves, right? They're tuned into a radio station called WIIFM. What's in it for me? That's their radio station, and they're there all the time, right? So when you go to network, of course, you don't go blabbing off about yourself. You don't lead with that, right? You lead with talking to them about them. Hey, nice to meet you. Where did you come to this event from? Are you local? What's your business about? What projects are you working on? What would be a good referral for you? If I met somebody who was your ideal client, who is that? Right? Which is wonderful because that's how you connect. But what moves the needle forward? You have to figure out a way to keep in contact with them. Right? Because you're like, this could be a mentor, this could be a resource, this, whatever that is. So it is a very simple thing. It was so amazing talking with you today. Is there any chance we could do lunch tomorrow? Because what happens then? It sets you up where you could take that relationship deeper. You never know where it leads to. You know that I always say that the quote that says your network is your net worth is absolutely true. So you never know, right? Or you say, hey, this is a really interesting conversation. I really wish we had more time to talk about it. Is there any way we can, hop on a quick call later in the week, say Thursday by 1 p.m.? Does that work with you? And exchange information. Now, this will probably be the most uncomfortable part of the conversation, but this is the part of the conversation that moves the needle forward. Okay, so if you just have an interesting conversation with the person and walk away, you're kind of like my friend at the airport who had the mask on, really cute mask, but didn't cover his nose. Like, come on, right? So what moves the needle forward? Say you were working on your messaging. When people ask you, what do you do? Right? You're working on that. What do you do? And this is something huge that we work on big time in the EntreMD Business School, because the clearer your message is, the faster you can find your ideal clients and the faster they'll say yes. A confused mind never buys. Never. Okay. So the clearer your talk is, the clearer what you can articulate what you do, the faster people say yes. Okay. Now, in saying your messaging, right? People come up with all kinds of things, and it's really long, it's really confusing, it's really vague. Like, I help you live your best life. What does that mean, though? Right? Best life could mean, oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom, or best life could mean I build a multiple seven-figure business, or best life could be that I'm in the best physical shape of my life. Best life could be I retire my mom. It could be anything, right? So what does it mean? And it doesn't mean you're not right. It's just that your person can't find themselves in that. Because what does it mean? Okay. Now, the clearer this is, the faster people say yes. And the clarity, again, comes from this. People are thinking about themselves almost 100% of the time. All right. So they're tuning into the station, WIIFM. And what they think about a lot are their problems. So I have a doc in the EntreMD Business School, Dr. Ayer. He's an amazing psychiatrist. And he says, I help people quit drugs and alcohol so they can get their lives back. Oh my goodness, right? So somebody who is an alcoholic, right? What are they thinking about? I just want to quit this, right? And maybe someone that's, has a drug addiction, what do they think? I wish I could just stop. I wish I could get rid of this. I wish I never started, right? And in the process of the addiction, so many things they could have lost jobs. They could have lost family members, family relationships. They could have lost a lot of money and all that stuff. And I want my life back. I want my life back, right? So if you listen to that, it's not fancy. And it's like, I don't want to say that because it sounds like everybody else, right? I don't want to say that. But what moves the needle forward when you're working on your messaging is being clear on what your ideal client's pain point is and articulating that. Okay? So this is not super fancy, but it's super clear. And in the messaging world, it's always clear over cute. Always. Because clear always wins, right? So somebody who has an addiction hears this, they're like, hey, wait, where is he? Right? Because that's their language, right? So I help people quit drugs and alcohol so they can get their lives back. What moves the needle forward? Clarity. So in all your branding language and all of that stuff, clarity. Okay. I'll give you one more and I'll let you go. Okay. Okay. Now, when you create a product or a service, so I see this a lot. I created an online course, or, I've started coaching, or I started a private practice, or I developed this product, I developed this skincare line, or, any of those kind of things. What moves the needle forward? What moves it forward is called marketing and sales. Okay? It's marketing and selling. It's marketing and selling. And the truth of the matter is, this is so important. Okay? This is so important that I recommend that people spend 50% of their business time in product or service development and 50% of their time in marketing and selling, right? Because what moves the needle forward is not your amazing product. It's not your amazing service. It's not your amazing coaching service. It's not your amazing private practice. Because the biggest problem every new business has is obscurity. People don't know you are there. So even though your product is great, people won't use it because they don't know that it exists. They have no idea, right? So what moves the needle forward? Like, I'm working, I'm sweating, I'm creating this product, I'm creating this service. If you will not market it and you will not sell it, you're literally like my friend at the airport who researched the mask, who brought out his card and paid for the mask, who waited for days for it to come, who put it on, but didn't cover his nose. All right. It will set you up where you have a service, but nobody's using it. And you know it's amazing. And you know it will change lives, but nobody's using it. So what will move it forward? Sales and marketing. You might say, I don't know how to do that. It's a learnable skill. You can learn it. Okay. You can learn it. You get a lot from the podcast, right? There's an episode on Help, I Hate Selling, and I'll link to it in the show notes, and you should check that out. There's an episode on 5 ways to market your private practice. I'll link to it in the show notes. Check that out. The EntreMD Business School. You should check that out, because what we do there is we help you define what your business is. We help you define your message, right? So it's crystal clear. So our ideal client can raise their hand and say, oh my God, I've been looking for you my whole life, right? We help you put yourself out there, right? That's one of the scariest things. It's like, I don't want to put myself out there. I don't know how to put myself out there. You're trained to do that, amongst other things. But, you're trained to do that. Why? It is what moves the needle forward. It's what gives you a recession-proof business. It is what you use so that your business works in good times and in bad times, because these are principles that cannot be broken. Okay? So I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, I want you to sit down, because the clearer you are with this, the better your business will be. What moves the needle in my business? And then I want you to make the commitment that in all the things you do, you make sure you're doing those things. So it doesn't mean they're the only things you do, but if you could only do one thing, it would be that thing, right? So ask yourself, what moves the needle in my business? And I want you to make a quality commitment to do it, okay? And if you're listening to me and you're like, oh my gosh, like all these things I have to do, you should check out the EntreMD Business School. You should sign up for it, okay? And the reason for that is this. You get the coaching you need. You get a group of doctors doing this with you. So you're not alone, okay? You get the community. And you get the accountability, which means you'll find yourself doing things you wouldn't normally do, that you normally find, uncomfortable, that you had no skill set at all, but you have the coaching to help you do it. You have the community to encourage you, and you have the community to hold you accountable to get it done. So you should sign up for it, okay? It will be a total 100% game changer for you, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you would love to share, I would love to hear your story. So you can go to the EntreMD private Facebook group. Just search for EntreMD in your Facebook search bar. And I want you to post what you're committing to do based on this, okay? I want you to post. You can post your biggest aha moments in the group, and we can continue the conversation from there. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going back to hang with my family. We're doing a tour of Washington, D.C. with my husband and my 4 kids. They're absolutely loving it. And I have a lot of business lessons I've pulled out from this trip, and I can't wait to share them all with you. Okay. All right. I will talk to you later. Go post in the Facebook group your biggest aha moment for this. See you later. If you love this podcast, please take a moment to subscribe, share, and review it on iTunes. As you go about your week, remember, you're not just an MD, you're an EntreMD. Don't forget to tune in next week for another great episode. Until next time.